Alexander Hollweg, Journeys in Art. For almost 50 years, Alexander Hollweg lived and worked on the Nettlecombe estate in West Somerset, home to a creative community of artists, musicians and writers. With his wife Geraldine, he created a life there centred around family, community, art and music. His artworks are filled with colour and humour and find constant inspiration from the landscapes around him. From farm, factory, city and housing estate, the places where people live and work and play. Hollweg was born in London in December 1936, the younger son of Joachim Albrecht von Bethmann Hollweg, a German ice hockey player of aristocratic birth, and Barbara Wadsworth, a novelist and daughter of the painter Edward Wadsworth. The family's comfortable existence was shattered by the outbreak of the Second World War. Hollweg's father was interned on the Isle of Man as an enemy alien. His mother moved with her parents and two young sons to Buxton. Despite the backdrop of war, the children experienced an upbringing filled with love and art and colour. From the age of 8, Hollweg was educated at boarding schools. He found ways to express himself through sport and increasingly through drawing. During 2 years of national service, he found a further creative outlet by designing theatre sets for army shows. He also began a lifelong habit of keeping a sketchbook. In 1957, Hollweg took up a place at New College, Oxford, to study modern languages. But his creative life increasingly dominated his academic studies. He rented a studio space in an old stable and attended drawing classes at the Ruskin School of Art. It was there that he met his future wife, Geraldine James. A career in art seemed inevitable, and in 1960, Hollweg enrolled at Camberwell School of Art and Craft. The school's teaching was based on modern art from the pre-war era, encouraging him to focus on everyday subject matter and a muted colour palette. He and Geraldine were married in 1962. Their 2 children, Rebecca and Lucas, were born in 1964 and 1967. The family made their first home in the garden suburb of Bedford Park in London, which had long been a favourite place for artists and writers. In 1965, Hollweg began teaching at Maidstone School of Art. There he was introduced to developments in contemporary painting and sculpture. In his own work, he began to experiment with a brighter colour palette, new subject matter, and unconventional materials. During holidays from teaching, the family visited their friend Pat Wolseley, who had married John Wolseley, the heir of the Nettlecombe estate. It was on a visit to Nettlecombe that he discovered a collection of Edwardian toys, dolls' houses, and furniture. He was excited by their craftsmanship and soon began to create his own colourful wooden sculptures. The new works were shown at his first solo exhibition, held at London's Whitechapel Gallery in 1971. The show sought to combine nostalgia for the past with the realities of modern life. In 1973, the year the family moved permanently to Nettlecombe, Hollweg created the illustrated book Brick Wall. Its imagery of densely packed houses receding to an open rural landscape mirrored his own move from London, the city he loved, to the peaceful countryside of Somerset. Hollweg later said that in moving to Somerset, they sold a house and bought a way of life. The Hollwegs became central to Nettlecombe's creative community, to its strong sense of common purpose, to long discussions about art and life, to much music and many parties. Hollweg's woodcut print Country Dance depicts an idyllic rural scene filled with figures representing his friends. They have all come out of the city to rediscover nature. In 1973, Hollweg's first commercial exhibition took place at the Felicity Samuel Gallery in London. It was followed by shows in Venice and New York. All were commercial and critical successes. The exhibitions focused on Hollweg's characteristic painted wooden sculptures and on watercolours. The works frequently depicted human interventions, or follies as he called them, set in natural landscapes. In the late 1970s, Hollweg began to explore a new kind of art based on ambitious multi-panelled landscapes made of painted wood. They had powerful visual appeal and soon entered collections in Italy, America, and Scotland. People were always central to Hollweg's artistic concerns. That was one reason why he became unofficial artist in residence at theatres, including the National Theatre. He also began creating artwork of bands playing, a reflection of the central importance music had in his own life. He entertained guests at Nettlecombe with his ukulele, guitar, and sousaphone, and toured with his band Dr. Jazz in Somerset and beyond. In the 1990s, he began painting portraits. He regarded them as conversation pieces that illuminated the relationship of his sitters to their social environment. In 2000, he received his largest and most ambitious commission. It was a mural for the Oscar Bar and Restaurant at the Charlotte Street Hotel in London. In his later years, the harbour town of Watchet, a few miles from Nettlecombe, became increasingly important to him. He commemorated it in a series of streetscapes that once again demonstrated his playfulness, his interrogation of landscape, and his abiding interest in geometry. Although he began to experience increasing ill health, he never stopped creating art. Alexander Hollweg died on the 20th of January 2020 at the age of 83. His gentle, kindly spirit and his determination to celebrate life, human value, and the power of community has left a joyful and enduring legacy.